Waterhouse and Mount Pleasant were the only winners on Sunday's opening day of the third season of the Jamaica Premier League. SportsMax is the official producer and broadcaster of all televised games, and our production crew is at the Anthony Spaulding Sports Complex for a double header. Donald Oliver and Chris Taylor have our preview plus a recap of Sunday's double header from the same venue.
4 teams will be in action under the lights here at the Tony Spaulding Sports Complex, including, of course, the champions Harbour View. They'll be up against Chapleton Maroons. And, of course, in the second game of the doubleheader, we will see Arnett Gardens here in their community, and they'll be facing off with Cavalier. So this first matchup between the champions, of course, they're still celebrating their 5th hold on the Premier League, and it's going to be interesting to see them up against this Clarendon-based team. And as I said before, the second game between Arnett Gardens and Cavalier, it is a mouth-watering prospect. But the action actually got underway on Sunday, Chris Taylor, with 2 matches right here. You would have seen both of them. One, a goalless draw, which wasn't as exciting, and of course the second game.
Yeah, double for Devroy Gray. 2 assists for Damien Baines. Waterhouse having to come from behind to get a 2-1 victory.
But in this first game, though, that ended 0-0 Humberline against Dunbeholden, and there were quite a few chances, though.
Disappointing performance by Dunbeholden. Couldn't really get the slick midfield play that we're used to seeing with all their changes. And yeah, there were a few chances. Humberland starting on the front foot, especially in that first half. Attacking the 18-yard area quite a bit. There saw Andre Clennon with a powerful header on target. And in the early stages, Damien Hart was quite busy.
Yeah, and as far as the second game was concerned, it really was end-to-end action as we see the closing moments of this one.
A shot from Stephen Barnett, who's come over from Tivoli Gardens to Dunbeholden, unable to find the back of the net. And as I said, a soft performance for Dunbeholden, but a point nevertheless.
Second game was more exciting, right?
Certainly. And especially considering the underdogs, Malines would have taken the lead.
Yeah. It came a bit of a surprise there, but it...
Green with the finish.
Waterhouse really had to go into their reserves to come from behind in this encounter.
Yeah, Elvis Wilson, just after myself and George were talking well of him in terms of what he had done last season.
Playing every match too.
Correct, and man of the match performances. A poor error at the back, gifting Malines a goal. Especially what we saw, exactly what we saw, I should say, last season with Malines, unable to maintain leads and maintain their concentration over 90 minutes. And yeah, Waterhouse getting right back in it. Devroy Gray, who scored all 3 goals last season as a substitute, a brace as a starter.
Well, let's see if he'll be able to maintain that for the rest of the season. So there are quite a few results on the first day, and Portmore United and Montego Bay United ended 1-1. Humberline and Dunbeholden 0-0. Mount Pleasant, they had to come from behind to beat Falkland. Vere United and Tivoli Gardens 1-1, and of course, as you just saw, Waterhouse with a 2-1 win over Malines United. As far as tonight is concerned, what are you expecting from Harbour View in their first match against a newcomer in Chapleton?
I think there'll be a lot of focus from Harbour View. I think what they would have seen from Falkland and Mount Pleasant would be a wake-up call for them that they need to start strongly. So I think that's an important part, but obviously Lenny Hyde, head coach of Chapleton, a real tactician, and I think that matchup with himself and Ludlow Bernard is the most mouth-watering part of the equation.
Well, it's continuing to rain here at the Tony Spaulding Sports Complex, but hopefully it doesn't rain on the parade of the 4 teams on show tonight.
Thank you so much, Donald and Chris, and I'm hoping as well that, the rain stay away and we get some football. George, the JPL is back, and you were extremely busy over the weekend. Back with a bang. Yeah,
JPL 3, as I'm calling it, started yesterday, and the 2 televised games we got yesterday, we got a total of 3 goals, albeit the 3 goals coming in one game. But, I mean, it's very hard to criticize teams in their first showing over such a long campaign. They'll be playing, each team will play 26 games in the preliminary round before they move on to the playoffs. So it's a hell of a long way to go. Waterhouse looked nothing like the team we saw last season. Dunbeholden looked nothing like the team we saw last season and the season before. Waterhouse, for that matter, nothing like the season we saw before last season. Yeah. So both those teams have serious improvement to make. For Dunbeholden, they have the pieces in place. They had some administrative issues which caused them to not be able to sign some of the players that they took from Waterhouse and some other clubs. Yeah. And then Waterhouse, because they are shorn of so many of their key pieces, just the integration of the younger players that Marcel Gay would have brought in caused them to not be as focused and as coordinated as you'd expect. I must say that the Tony Sporting Sports Complex, I spoke well of the facility, the venue on commentary yesterday, and I want to continue speaking well of it because, Mariah, we got rain by the bucket loads on Sunday. We got, the crowd was at about halftime, or approaching halftime in the first game between, the first game was between Dunbeholden and oh my God, Waterhouse Malines played the second game, Dunbeholden and Humberland.
Yeah.
There you go. The crowd was building up because the Waterhouse crowd was coming in to see their team in the second game. So the crowd was building nicely. And then the heavens opened and everybody disappeared. I fear some of the faithful stayed around, but the drainage on the surface was so good that if you were watching in the second game after a deluge, you would have struggled to pinpoint, you'd have struggled to declare that so much water had dropped on that field. So kudos to the people at Arnett Gardens. I know that a lot has been asked of the surface and will be asked of the surface over the course of the season, but it is holding up very well, and I hope that not too much rain drops today, and so these two games can go on a surface deserving of being used for a Premier League game.
Yeah, I got to catch a piece of the Montego Bay game, and I have to say that, I'm very impressed, George, because Montego Bay finished last season, bottom of the table, but they fought, they came from behind, and they was able to draw. What did you make of them?
Yeah, Alan Otti, the former Montego Bay United star, Premier League champion with them when they were at their strongest. He was at Mount Pleasant last season, and of course Alan Otti looks nothing like the Alan Otti who graced the league fresh out of high school as a whippersnapper schoolboy, put on a lot of weight, but he scored for them, as you noted, coming from behind in that game Mobay did. It was against Portmore United.
Yeah.
And so Don Van Duki, a favorite of ours here at the SportsMax Zone, he was trying to break the hoodoo of Mobay United. Since they changed their name to Mobay United, they have not won in the Premier League on opening day. So they were heading for that record to be broken. We're looking to break that record on Sunday, but they had to settle for a draw. A long season to go. I'm happy that you saw things in them that you like, because as you noted, from last place, no hopers last year. If the rules that apply this season applied last season, they would have been relegated. So they don't want to flirt with relegation, the real thing, this season. So they'll be hoping to use this as a stepping stone. I can guarantee you, a Donovan Duki team will be very difficult to break down. They will be difficult to score on. They might not score many, and they might not be pretty on the eye. But when the teams draw them, they're going to grow and say, oh my gosh, a Nuki team, because they know it's going to be a long day.
Yeah, a lot of draws too this weekend.
Yeah.
What does that mean for the quality of the JPL? Is it that the teams are so evenly matched, or is it because we're just getting started and maybe, we need a little bit extra warming up?
That's precisely it. Not a plebiscite on the quality of the teams any at all, or even the fitness of the teams, because most of the teams, it would be a foolhardy coach and coaching staff that prepares a team at their fittest to start a 26-round season. Yeah, so these teams are undercooked in terms of fitness. They'll grow into it, and there's a month-long break between now and November, the start of the World Cup. So don't worry yourself about the start. The league will settle down, and I promise you, the football this season will be very, very good.
I'll be coming to some of the matches to hang out with you while you're
for sure.
All right, let's take a quick break. We'll be right back.